Lately I've been reading a lot about conspiracy theories. I read this really wild one about Walt Disney, the guy who started Disney Company, that he's frozen. His body is frozen, and someday they'll wake him up or something like that. And then this theory came mainstream, and there's this theory that Walt Disney Company made the movie Frozen so that when people Google Walt Disney Frozen, the movie comes up and not the conspiracy theory about Walt Disney being frozen. I wonder if it's true. Could be true, no? In today's Kremlin Files, we'll introduce one of the most famous American propagandists and conspiracy theorists, Tucker Carlson. Tucker is probably best known from his long career working for Fox News, where he had his own show called Tucker Carlson Tonight.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. Good evening and welcome to a special edition of Tucker Carlson Tonight.
Tucker's worldview is dominated by conspiracy theories and extreme ideologies. In a recent podcast with Joe Rogan, he gave us a glimpse about his worldview. He believes that there have been extraterrestrial beings on Earth for thousands of years, and implies that the US government knows about them.
So they're from here, and they've been here for thousands of years, whatever they are. US servicemen have died as a result of contact with or being in the proximity of these vehicles.
He also doesn't believe in evolution, saying that
I think we've kind of given up on the idea of evolution. The theory of evolution as articulated by Darwin is kind of not true.
after Russia launched their full-scale invasion against Ukraine, he was doing whole series on the US-funded bioweapons labs in Ukraine, a conspiracy theory that was spread by a QAnon follower Jacob Creech during the first days of the invasion. During his chat with Joe Rogan, Tucker also described Alex Jones as a supernatural prophet, and that he's channeling something.
How'd that happen?
Right, how did he do that?
No, he's channeling something. That's real. That is real. The supernatural is real.
Alex Jones indeed is channeling something. He's channeling bullshit to his listeners to sell dietary supplements, brain pills, bulletproof vests, and toothpaste. Then there's of course the classic rambling about the deep state, evil globalists taking over the world, and how Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum are trying to make us all eat bugs. He actually did a full segment on this called Let Them Eat Bugs, and it is hilarious.
To find out, we decided to interview the Bugman himself, the elderly German insect enthusiast Klaus Schwab. Unfortunately, Schwab could not talk to us. He was busy tending to his herds of praying mantises back on the bug farm. So he spoke instead to a man who looks just like him.
I am Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum.
What will it take to get you to eat the bug?
What is that? I would like to convince you to change the diet of the American population.
Some refer to Tucker as a journalist, but a closer look into his career shows that he has absolutely no regard for any ethics in journalism. Carlson started his media career in 2000 at CNN, where he co-hosted a show called Crossfire. In 2004, a comedian Jon Stewart was a guest at the show and completely decimated Tucker and his co-host.
Fair, and I should come here and tell you that it's not so much that it's bad as it's hurting America. So I wanted to come here today and say,
Wait.
Here's just what I wanted to tell you guys.
Yeah.
Stop. Stop hurting America.
Okay, now. Even back then, Stewart called them partisan hacks who promote political parties and call themselves journalists. Neither never recovered, and the whole show was cancelled just a few months later. Newspaper The Atlantic even suggested that Stewart's appearance on Crossfire was a turning point leading to how Carlson remade himself later. Even if that's not true, Tucker stopped using his trademark bow tie after John said he's too old to wear one.
How old are you?
35.
And you wear a bow tie.
Yeah, I do. I do.
So this is...
No, I know.
So
You're right. No, let me just go. No, come on.
And listen, I'm not suggesting that you're not a smart guy, because those are not easy to tie. But the thing is,
Tucker worked for some years on MSNBC, where he had his own show, Tucker, and appeared on Dancing with the Stars, but was soon eliminated from both.
An awful mess, free!
In 2009, he found his true home at Fox News, where he launched his career as the leading voice of resentment politics. Resentment, or grievance politics, is a form of politics which is based on resentment of some other group of people, and Tucker simply excels at this. For some years, Tucker was a guest panelist and even substitute hosted Sean Hannity's show, but it still took him 7 years to get his own show, Tucker Carlson Tonight. And it was an instant hit. The premiere episode of the show was watched by 3.7 million Americans, and it soon got the best primetime TV spots on Fox News. But of course there was some trouble also. Tucker's blatant racism and stating that immigration makes the country poorer, dirtier and more divided drove some advertisers away. In 2019, comments Tucker had made several years ago to the radio show Puppet the Love Sponge, in which Carlson compared women to dogs and called them extremely primitive, resurfaced and were published.
I love women, but they're extremely primitive. They're basic. They're not that hard to understand. You just need to be quiet and kind of do what you're told. Anybody who answers my trophy wife is my favorite possession is my hero. I don't give a shit.
These derogatory comments actually gave him a boost as his rating rose by 8%. Finally, the racist, uneducated and chauvinist demographic had found their messiah.
Oh, Lord Jesus, what have you done?
In 2020, Tucker Carlson Tonight had become the highest-rated cable news show in the US, even though more advertisers like the Walt Disney Company, T-Mobile and Papa John's pulled off their ads due to Tucker's comments. Of all the lies Carlson told throughout the years, it was done over the Dominion voting system that probably finally cost him his job. Dominion sued Fox News in 2021, alleging that several Fox programs had broadcast false statements that Dominion voting machines had been rigged to steal the 2020 US presidential election from Donald Trump.
They rigged the election in front of all of us, and nobody did anything about it.
Tucker was one of the people who had broadcast these claims that in the end cost Fox News a total of $787.5 million. The Wall Street Journal wrote that Tucker's vulgar criticism of Fox's management was the reason for his dismissal, but I think Fox had around 787 million reasons to fire him at this point. The Dominion lawsuit also gave us a glimpse behind the scenes when Tucker's and other Fox's hosts' private messages were published. Let's take a look at some of them. A couple of weeks ago, I was watching video of people fighting on the streets in Washington. A group of Trump guys surrounded an Antifa kid and started pounding the living shit out of him. It was 3 against 1 at least. Jumping a guy like that is dishonorable, obviously. It's not how white men fight. Yet suddenly I found myself rooting for the mob against the man, hoping they'd hit him harder, him. I really wanted them to hurt the kid. I could taste it. Then somewhere deep in my brain, an alarm went off. This isn't good for me. I'm becoming something I don't want to be. The Antifa group is a human being. Yikes, my man. That's dark. In one text to his producer, Tucker stated that he hates Trump passionately and that there really isn't an upside to Trump. After Fox News White House correspondent Jacques Heinrich said that Trump's claims about Dominion should be fact-checked, Carlson texted Hannity the following: "Please get her fired. Seriously, what the f***? I'm actually shocked. It needs to stop immediately, like tonight. It's measurably hurting the company. The stock price is down. Not a joke." Could it be that Tucker doesn't actually believe in all this bullshit, but just promotes it to make more money? Could anyone be this cynical and greedy? Anyway, after he was kicked off from Fox, Tucker's pal Elon Musk offered help. Tucker started his own show on X, a social media platform formerly known as Twitter, in which he interviewed people like alleged sex trafficker and rapist Andrew Tate and war criminal Vladimir Putin. The latter was quickly forgotten because it contained mostly revisionist ramblings of an old dictator. But at least now we all know the name Rhetoric and that he started reigning over Novgorod in the year of 862. Carlson didn't challenge any of Putin's genocidal views, and even the Russian dictator himself said that he was not happy with the interview, probably because he's obviously rooting for Putin.
Wait, what did you just say?
He said it himself in 2019, later stating that it was just a joke. Sometime after that, he said that "I think we should probably take the side of Russia,
if we have to choose between Russia and Ukraine.
And I think we should probably take the side of Russia if we have to choose between Russia and Ukraine. That is my view.
But he disregarded the obvious invasion as a border dispute, and he called Zelensky an instrument of total destruction who has no interest in freedom or democracy. He also called Zelensky a dictator and dangerous authoritarian who has used US money to erect a one-party police state in Ukraine.
It is pretty clear that Zelensky has no interest in freedom and democracy. He is a dictator. He is a dangerous authoritarian who has used $100 billion in US tax dollars to erect a one-party police state in Ukraine.
And because of this, he's also become Moscow's favorite American who gets plenty of screen time on shows of Vladimir Solovyov, Margarita Simonian, and Olga Skabeyeva. In many interviews and speeches, Tucker Carlson has claimed to be against liars and that the more you tell the truth, the stronger you become.
The more you tell the truth, the stronger you become. That's completely real.
Yet, Tucker himself has lied about pretty much everything. One of his lies actually cost Fox News $787 million. He's also said that since Russia invaded Ukraine, not a single Western journalist has bothered to interview Putin.
Are you sure about that? Because I'm not.
Since 2014, Putin has been interviewed by Putin's lapdog Oliver Stone, Megyn Kelly, Armin Wolf, and Keir Simmons. And then there's of course the bioweapons labs in Ukraine.
What's not funny is that this is all entirely real. We invited Marco Rubio on this show tonight to tell us what he knows about these biolabs. He declined to come.
To conclude, Tucker Carlson is either a gullible conspiracy theorist or a cynical and greedy opportunist who uses conspiracy theories and controversies to bolster support to his media business. Now, here's my take. I think Tucker will say or do almost anything if it makes him more money, even dance on national TV. Hope you enjoyed this episode of the Kremlin Files, but for now, I say goodbye to you, my friends. We'll meet again soon.